Hey everybody, it is episode 30. I am so excited, but guess what? I'm also very tired. And in the last 24 hours, my energy level has been all sorts of crazy and not where I want it to be. So let's talk about some of the quotes that I was looking at to try to help both figure out what was going on and maybe see what could help solve my problem. It may be helpful for you too. Stay tuned after the theme song. We'll get into it. So the big question is this: how do we ambitious professionals avoid the slow-moving career, take control of our time, and get paid for two things? Doing what excites us and making an impact bigger than anyone ever thought was possible. That is the question, and this podcast has the answers. My name is Candace Spears, and welcome to Ambition, Honey, and Hustle. In the last 24 hours, I have been, exhausted, maybe to say the least. Energy has just been dwindling. And, not sure, able to figure out what exactly is the pinpoint. But I know, I think about today, got up, alarm went off, hit snooze. I think I finally got out of bed around maybe 5 o'clock this morning. So got up, checked some things, saw what was going on in my business, and I think about 6:05, I had my laptop on the bed and said, screw it, I am going back to sleep. Told Alexa to set the alarm for 6:30, which, as you can tell by the timing, was not very long between the time I laid down and the time I would have to get up again. But in my mind, just any amount of sleep, even if it was 25, 28 minutes, whatever, would do, and I just needed that. And so I laid there and the alarm went off and I yelled snooze again, and by this time it was time to wake up the kids, yelled at them, only to find out when I tried to contact them on Alexa, their Alexa was disconnected and I didn't want to get out of the bed, and thankfully my husband said, no, don't worry about it, I'll do it. So after that, I was able to tell Alexa to snooze one more time. Just give me another 10 minutes. And through all the snoozing, and I knew I was on my way. I needed to record another episode, and today is episode 30. Just fantastic. Great to get to 30. And the reality is, though, things can get tiring. I mean, when you're going along, again, when you're hustling, things can get tiring, and not knowing whether it's people or it's just things or it's the ideas, whatever it is, so much can be going on, and our energy, if we don't take time to restore it, can start to be depleted. And so one of the things I was thinking about this morning is just quotes from an energy perspective. What are some quotes to help bring a little bit of energy or bring some perspective? So I thought I would share that with you. And there was a few different quotes that jumped out at me. So let's talk about them. The first one is from someone named Norman Vincent Peale. Not sure who that is, but the quote says, "The more you lose yourself in something bigger than yourself, the more energy you will have." This one struck a chord with me because I can vividly think back to earlier in this week, like in that Monday, Tuesday time frame, and things have been just mounting. The more content you release, the more you get out there and the more you talk, the more people have a chance to relate to you, hear you, engage with you. And so earlier this week, there's just been a lot coming through in terms of people who have listened to the podcast. I've heard from a lot of you, whether on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger, by email, on how you've been enjoying the podcast. And when I think about that time and those moments and responding to people, that gave me energy. And what I also got from that was, hey, while I maybe had one intention, which is sort of putting this out there, and maybe people were listening and maybe they weren't, there are people listening and there are people that feel impact. So I had that moment of embodying the quote where I felt some energy because this was bigger. Like, it was bigger than me. People's lives were touched in some way. People were affected. So reflecting on that quote, completely rings true. The more you lose yourself in something bigger than yourself, the more energy you will have. So that's a good reflection point to get back on track. Another one, this one from Eleanor Roosevelt: it takes as much energy to wish as it does to plan. Oh my goodness. This one, very, 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 very true. And for those of you out there who are in the mode of, all right, I know I want to do XYZ, or I've got this good idea, and I've got 5,000 good ideas, and I know that one of them is going to be great, and I know I want to go and chase this particular dream career because it would be great for me. A lot of I want to, it would, if, all those things are the act of wishing and not necessarily the act of planning. So if you're finding some energy depletion, think about the fact of how you're spending your energy. Are you doing some wishing? Or is that energy better spent doing planning? So I like that one. That one didn't ring as true for me in terms of why my energy might be depleted, but I think it's a good one to hold on to. It takes as much energy to wish as it does to plan. All right, the next one. This one from Earl Nightingale: the key that unlocks energy is desire. It's also the key to a long and interesting life. If we expect to create any drive, any real force within ourselves, we have to get excited. This one I agree with 1000%. Again, with this one, I can reflect on my high energy moments, and that is, pursuing things that are interesting, things that I'm excited about. I get energy from. You've probably seen this yourself. When you're excited about something, it's easy for you to go and attack it. Like, you find the energy to go and do it. And so this one really rings true, where there's some energy that's missing or lacking. This could be a piece of it, right? Are you chasing something that's interesting? Are you chasing something that you really have a passion for, that you're creating some drive behind? So I do like that one. And again, it's the key that unlocks energy is desire. It's also the key to a long and interesting life. If we expect to create any drive, any real force within ourselves, we have to get excited. Hold on to that one. That's a good one. Now, for me, not necessarily, again, the source of my energy drain. Okay, so let's look at this last one. This last one says, it's a waste of energy to be angry with a man who behaves badly, just as it is to be angry with a car that won't go. Now, let me tell you, when I read this one, I had a moment of feeling just almost dumb. Like, it was a moment of, and the thing that the dumb part was the last part of the quote, where it says, just as it is to be angry with a car that won't go. Just thinking how upsetting it is to, you have a car that won't start. Sure, you could take all your frustration out on that car. You could be angry with that car for days. You could do all that, but none of that helps the situation. So, just as it is to be angry with someone who has either done something to you or caused some frustration or caused some whatever is going on in your life, it's just as unreasonable to be angry with that person because you can't change the situation as it is to be angry at a car that won't start, right? Dumb. So this quote felt like maybe there's something there, at least for me, in terms of my energy drain in the last 24 hours. So that made me think, all right, well, what has happened in the last 24 hours? And there's been a lot, just in terms of whether it's day job things and dealing with people, because you have to do that. Business stuff, not so much. There's so much excitement and passion and things that I'm hearing there. And some of it, to be honest, can just be you're tired. You're doing a lot, right? So I want you to take all of these quotes, and some of them may fit if you're going through an energy struggle right now. Some of them may fit, some of them may not. In some cases, you may just be tired and need to take a break. And I'll tell you, at 30 episodes, well, I don't plan to take a break, if that's what you thought I was going to say. I want to keep bringing you valuable, awesome content, things that are going to change your life, things that, in that first quote, things that are bigger than me. that help you to go forward and really chase the things that you're after. But I am going to be very conscious, and I want you to be very conscious also of taking a break and relaxing. However that manifests itself for you, it will be important for you to continue on your hustle forward. So with that, take these quotes, take them in, use them, love them, throw them away, whatever you want to do. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great evening whenever you are listening. And guess what? I'll talk to you very, very soon. Thanks for listening. If you haven't already, subscribe, share, follow, leave us a review, whatever other cool thing you could do it to this podcast so we can make sure that we stay connected. And I look forward to talking to you again very soon.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.